I hope you all enjoyed dinner. Hey, Camilla. Is this on? It looks like a lot of us have finished eating. We're going to move on with the program now. Thank you. People are starting to move around, so I think it's time to move on with the program. If you haven't yet finished your dinner, please do so. There is one plate of desserts to share on each table, so it's not meant for one person to get all of them. You have to share. Darn. Just a reminder that if you have a live cell phone, you might want to silence it now. Thank you. I just want to give a brief history of the Janesville Multicultural Teacher Opportunity Scholarship Program. The title, by the way, was created by a committee. Can you tell? In 2007, Tim Cullen was serving on the Janesville School Board and noticed that the school district had been having some difficulties in recruiting teachers of color. And he thought about that. At the time, 99.5% of the teachers in our school district were white. And I think the statistic, correct me if I'm wrong, is 17% of the student population was non-white. So there was a huge disparity. And he thought about that for a while and decided, well, we've got 17% of our students in the district. Perhaps some of them want to be teachers, and we can help them get through that process and encourage them to come back to Janesville and teach. And so we gathered a few community members together and created this program. The first award was made in 2008. The award is for up to $5,000 for up to 5 years. And today, because of our efforts, I think, 2% of the teachers, instead of 0.5%, are now non-white. So we have made some progress since 2007. Today we have 5 graduates of the program and 3 students in the pipeline. And you get to meet them now. We have all but 1 student here with us. The graduates are Daniel Jackson, Jared Fox, Jesse Ramirez, Chastity Harden, and Nikki Washington. And the 3 that are currently going to school to become teachers are Gabby Rojas, Adriana Mayfield, and Annabelle Richter. Annabelle couldn't be with us tonight, though. So each year at our event, we invite the participants to tell us a little bit about themselves, and I'm going to let them come up individually without being introduced. And in the order of the program, folks, so look at your program. I think, Daniel, are you up first? Come on up.
Hello. Thank you for all coming tonight. My name is Daniel Jackson, and I graduated in 2012, and I've been working in the district ever since. I started my first years at Edison Middle School, and I worked with the at-risk students over there. Starting off in that position was an incredible position. I got acclimated to the teaching field quite quickly. As far as what we did in that position, we kind of got kids up to speed basically on math and reading specifically, but there were other aspects involved in that particular position. One of the biggest things was relationship building with the kids, and that's a huge thing within teaching. One thing that really stands out in my mind as I look over my time teaching is when I'm out in the community now, and some of those kids that I started with back in 2012, the years go by quick, I tell you. As they come up to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Jackson," they're a lot taller now. "Hey." Sometimes I need stilts, but it's definitely good to see them, and that just, it shows the passion of why I love this profession And I feel it's the greatest profession in the world, and I love it, and I enjoy it, and I hope to do it for the rest of my life. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity. Each year, my wife comes with me, and we look forward to this event, just acknowledging the great things that this program does. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jared Fox, and one thing that Dan didn't say about himself is that he is a wonderful wrestling coach at Parker as well, and he does a great job with our kids there, so we appreciate having him there daily, especially in the winter time. I teach at Parker. I graduated from UW-Milwaukee, proud Panther alumni, and this is going to be my second year at Parker. I'm teaching pre-calculus, and I also teach Algebra 1 strategies, which is basically a course for students who are struggling in the subject to come get some more help, make sure that they're getting their one-on-one support. Yeah, I also coach, so along with Coach Jackson. I coach basketball for the men, and then currently I am doing the soccer program for the boys as well. So really have a great chance of getting with a bunch of different kids, getting exposure to them, and it's such an enjoyment compared to just being in the classroom. I think getting in and being a part of the community as much as you can be is a great idea. It gives you, first of all, kids that want to be there daily. Not all of my kids are the happiest about learning how to complete the square on a daily basis. And it really just gives you an opportunity to reach as many people as possible. And this is probably, Nikki and I were talking about this, I think the 5th or 6th year we've done this. And it's kind of like, you guys are probably sick of looking at my face at this point. But it's such a great opportunity to come here and see everybody support such a great cause, and obviously, there's such a substantial difference in the percentages, and I think the percentage of students is growing as far as the non-white culture, and I think that this is responding to that, and I think that it's always great to see people that are willing to be progressive about that and are willing to be supportive of something this great. So we are all financially thankful. We're all professionally thankful, and again, we just appreciate your time and your money, and especially your money. And thanks for coming out, and I hope you guys have a great time.
This will work. All right, hello, I'm Jesse Ramirez, and this is my first year teaching in the school district of Janesville since being a part of this wonderful program, so I'm incredibly thankful. I am at Franklin Middle School, so big shout out to the Franklin Falcons out there. Yes. So I went to Whitewater. I did a minor in music, and I'm teaching 7th grade math, and I also have a reading and comm arts block at Franklin. It's been wonderful, so I'm just incredibly grateful to be in the position that I am, to be able to meet with these kids daily, and just knowing that what I'm doing is having an impact on this community here in Janesville that is just incredibly important to myself. And so I love Janesville, and I'm incredibly happy to be teaching in the school district that taught me, and I'm just really looking forward to continuing and just being a part and seeing it grow. And it's just amazing seeing how many people have come together just to support this awesome cause that's impacting so many lives, and is just just really, it's great. So I'm incredibly thankful for all of you, and just for supporting me. The scholarship has meant a whole lot to myself and my family, and just knowing that there are people that are supporting and who believe in me and who want to see me teach. So I'm incredibly grateful. So thank you all so much, and have a wonderful night.
Good evening. I'm Chastity Harden, and I teach at the Youth Service Center. I'm going to deviate a little bit because I think that the difference that the scholarship makes is far greater than me. So I graduated from UW-Whitewater. I majored in history and secondary education. And as of fall 2014, I became a first-generation college graduate. Thank you. So even greater than me, that was something for my entire family. It was something for my elders to be proud of. And I have my daughter here today, so it was something for the people that come behind me, my daughter, my brothers and sisters, my nieces and nephews. I became a role model to them, a positive role model. So, teaching at the Youth Service Center, I can't help but notice a lot of the disproportionality that I discussed and studied in a lot of my classes. So, I've left mad a lot of days. I left saying, why isn't anyone doing anything? And what can I do? What is it that I can do? And then I stumbled into this meeting I was invited to, the Platinum Plan meeting. And in that meeting, they were discussing things that are being done. And so it was just such a great experience being behind the scenes, and I was sitting there just smiling. And then Angela was like, what are you smiling for? And I think I said something like, I'm just so happy to be at a meeting. But really on the inside, I was like, wow, look at everything that's being done. Look at what they're doing and look at what's to come. I'm a part of the things that are being done, right? Because they discussed in that meeting this scholarship. So the students where I work at, the Youth Service Center, they tend to kind of come and go. And I left a part of my speech at the table. Can I just have 30 seconds to go and get that? Okay. Okay, this was a very important part of the speech. So this is a note card from one of my students. And when they leave, I ask them, I say, can you write me a little note card and can you tell me, give me some advice for the future as a teacher and something positive, something that you learned, or just write me something, right, so that I can remember you. And so this kid, ironically, if a kid can be considered a bad kid, he was one of the bad kids in the class, right? And he wrote me this little note, and I give my kids like affirmations or quotes for the week. And this week it was, I think, therefore I am, because I want to get my students to think more positively. And so he wrote me this note and he said, Dear Miss Harden, I want to thank you for pushing me to do better. I've never really seen eye to eye with teachers, but it was something about you that I respected. And I thank you for noticing the good, because not a lot of people do. I think, therefore, I am. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nikki Washington. I started off at UW-Rock County, and then I went on to Whitewater. I have a license, a dual license in early childhood and special ed. I was fortunate to start right away long-term subbing at Harrison Elementary School in first grade, and then I got the position in first grade I taught last year, and then this year now I'm teaching third grade. So switching grades, I was kind of nervous, but it's definitely kept me on my toes, and some people have asked me, do I like first grade or third grade better? It's just different. And I keep telling the students, we're learning together, and we have this awesome new reading curriculum that we're learning, and I'm just really thankful for everyone's support here, and it just meant a lot to me, and like Chastity was saying, I feel like a good role model for my boys. When I got this scholarship, I was a pregnant teen, and so some people didn't really think that I would go on to, accomplish things. So I just feel proud of myself and feel like I'm a good role model for my boys. So thank you all.
Hola. ¿Cómo están? My name is Gabby Rojas. It's an honor to me. It's an honor to be here tonight. I'm very nervous. It's an honor to be here tonight and standing before you all as one of the recipients for the Janesville Multicultural Teacher Opportunities. I currently attend to Blackhawk Technical College, and I will go to the University of Whitewater next May to obtain my degree in early childhood education. I was blessed to start my student teaching this semester. The joy I get from being with those kids remind me every day of why I started this journey. So I would like to thank the Janesville Funding Board who chose me to be a recipient. I will not be able to continue on my journey without the help of the scholarship. With this scholarship, I promise to further my education so I can, one day, further the education of the future leaders. Gracias.
Hi, everybody. I'm a little nervous as well, but my name is Adriana Mayfield, and I'm currently attending UW-Rock County. After URock, I plan on going to UW-Milwaukee. A lot of people have kind of said, you know, Whitewater, but but Milwaukee just feels like home. So yeah. Right now, I'm currently doing a fieldwork study at Lincoln Elementary, and I'm working with a shared classroom between kindergartners and first graders, so there's 46 kids. So that's definitely a big, I don't even know how to put it. I want to teach in Janesville because of all the amazing teachers and people supporting me, not only now, but in the past. I came from a single parent family, and to be honest, I didn't think this would ever happen. It's because of you guys and the people who are participating in the scholarship that keep me really going, and for the kids. I found a quote today that really kind of hit home, and it says, "The ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are usually the ones who do."
A great group of role models, wouldn't you say? Thank you all for coming tonight. As I said earlier, this program really was the brainchild of Tim Cullen. He has a long history of community service. He served on the Janesville City Council, 1970 and 71. He was elected to the state Senate and served from 74 to 86. And then he served as the Secretary of Health and Social Services under Governor Thompson. He joined the school district board in 2007 and served for 3 years, and then was reelected to the Senate in 2010. It's been an honor for me to work with Mr. Cullen on many different initiatives, not just this one. And I invite him to the podium now to introduce our keynote speaker. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Sue. And I think you all need to know that these kind of things happen usually because one person sort of is the glue of the foundation or of this effort. And really, it has been Sue Connolly since day one. Finding out, getting the board together, getting the applications out, getting the scheduled meetings to interview the students and so on, all that stuff, she organized that, and she was a linchpin in organizing this dinner tonight too, so terrific, Sue. I also want to acknowledge, she was introduced, but Dr. Karen Scholde, our superintendent. I think all of you know about any kind of program you have, the person at the top of the organization you're working with is on board. It really helps, and from day one, Karen has been 100% in favor of this program and supporting it ever since her first day as superintendent. So thank you, Karen. Thank you. I was going to spend a few minutes talking about the true value of this program, not just in the teachers, but literally thousands of kids over their lifetime they're going to influence. But I'll stop right there because I cannot say anything that tops what you just heard them say. I mean, they've said everything better than I could have ever thought of, so I will skip all that. I do have a quick pop quiz, though, for all of you. Representative Kolste and Representative Laudenbecker here, and the governor is here. And the pop quiz is, what do all three of them have in common? Deb Kolste, Amy Laudenbeck, Tommy Thompson, and the answer has nothing to do with politics. Any guesses on what all three of them have in common? Who said that? Oh, they're all farmers. They're all farmers. Amy and her husband have a farm south of Clinton. Deb and her husband, Dr. Rex, I saw over here, have a farm in Kansas. And I know this guy has a 1,000-acre farm just about a half mile west of Elroy, because I've been there twice. And he does actually farm the thing. He actually wears the boots. He fortunately put on his wingtips tonight, but I've seen him in those other boots with that other stuff on those other boots. But they all are farmers. So you might not have known that little bit, and I'm afraid I must have tipped off my stepdaughter to that. Anyway, it's my honor tonight to introduce our guest speaker, and he is really a terrific human being. You all know him as a governor and secretary, so on in the federal government. But he really is talking to my wife all the time instead of listening to me. See, this is how much my wife listens to me at home, too. But I want to tell you how he got here tonight. I was meeting with him to interview him on a book I'm writing, and he asked me what I was doing in retirement, and I mentioned this foundation, work on this a little bit, and I said, and by the way, we're going to have a fundraiser next fall. This was back in May, and would you consider coming down and being our guest speaker? And he said yes. He didn't say, I got to check with my staff, and I got to look at my schedule and all those things. He said yes, and he's here tonight. I also have a foundation for high school interns, and I like to have them meet with a lot of public officials, and they've been meeting with former Governor Tony Earl, but I didn't have a Republican former governor because he was governor for so long, there weren't any other former Republican governors. And so I asked him if he would be willing to set aside an hour and a half of his time to meet with the high school interns. This is the kind of guy he is. He says, why don't you bring him up to the farm? And I said, well, sure, And so we went up to the farm, and he showed us around the farm, and then he had a big lunch for everybody, and then he took all the questions that the interns wanted to ask. This guy gave 2.5 hours of his time to some 17-year-old high school kids in Janesville who he didn't know before then, he'll probably never see again. That's the kind of thing you don't hear about people who are in public life. You see them on TV or you see the ads and so on, but the real thing. So it's really a pleasure for me to introduce to you. He is the longest serving governor in Wisconsin history at 15 years. And I was doing the math. If he'd have kept running, I think he could have kept winning. And tonight he would be in his 8th term as governor of Wisconsin. And to give you an idea of how much that is when you're governor for 15 years, the next longest serving governor is 8 years. The third longest is 6.5 years. So a remarkable thing to be governor for 15 years. Left the governorship to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services in Washington. Huge agency. Think Medicare, think Medicaid, think Centers for Disease Control, et cetera, et cetera. And he was the secretary on 9/11. And that's the agency that was so important to medicine and doctors and so on for New York City. So it is a great honor for me to introduce to all of you Governor and Mr. Secretary Tommy Thompson.
Tim Cullen. I have enough stories here to last till tomorrow morning, but suffice it to say is you're a hell of a guy. Give him a big round of applause, ladies. Pardon my language. Tim was state senator, and I was a state representative. We didn't always agree, as you can well imagine. But the thing is that Senator Cullen and myself had one objective, and that was to find the middle ground, find a solution to the problem we were dealing with, and then embrace it and get it passed and become the law of the state of Wisconsin. Tim Cullen was a man, and still is, of innovation. He's an individual that I looked at, and when I got elected governor, a lot of people, don't realize this, getting elected from governor from a small city of Elroy. None of you have ever heard of it. I used to tell people, they say, well, where's Elroy? And I said, well, it's right between Kendall and Union Center, north of Waniwak and south of Hustler, which it is. And got a laugh like this, but nobody knew where it was. And then have a first name running for governor like Tommy. Now, it really doesn't instill a degree of confidence in you, does it? Tommy from Elroy. And I had to figure out how I was going to really be an effective governor. And I talked to my right arm assistant, Jim Clauser, who some of you really know and know well. And I said, we need a strong Democrat if we're going to be successful. And he said, what about Tim Cullen? And I said, what about Tim Cullen? I said, he'll never take any job with me. He's a majority leader in the state Senate. He's the outstanding Democrat, and he's going to run against me in 4 years. Why would he come into my administration? And Jim said, I don't know. Well, let's ask him. I said, well, you go ask him, because I'm not going to. And Jim Clauser went and talked to Tim Cullen. This was on the beginning of the week, and I had just gotten elected. Nobody, was expecting a great deal, because I had defeated a Democrat who was very popular, Tony Earl, and it's been a long time since a Republican had been elected. And so Lee Dreyfus was in there, but some people didn't really consider him a Republican. But bless his soul, he was, and we talked a while, and Jim went to see Tim. And Tim said, well, which one would you give me? well, what do you want? Says, well, he said, I might take transportation. The Kennedys would have liked that, and the Cullens, but he said, I also might like to take Health and Human Services. Clauser comes running back. You can see this big grin on his face, Tim Cullen is interested. And I said, well, really? And he said, yes. And so go back and negotiate a deal. It was on a Thursday. And he said, well, I think I want to be Health and Human Services. And he said, well, we got to make up our mind. We're forming the cabinet, and so you got to make up your mind. He said, well, I think I might do it, but I got to think about it overnight. On Friday, he said, yeah, I'll be in your cabinet, and I'll be Secretary of Health and Human Services. And I said, we got to announce it. I told Klaus I didn't tell Tim this. I called Tim and I said, thank you, great. We're going to have a great time. We're going to build this state and make it happen. And I told Klaus, I says, for gosh sakes, we got to have a press conference on Monday morning before he changed his mind. And all weekend, I was on pins and needles because this was a real coup. And you people haven't been involved in politics. This is really something to have the opportunity to have somebody of Tim Cullen's stature join a Republican in the administration. And we had a press conference on Monday morning. I could still see it. All the press came in because they were expecting some announcement. And they couldn't believe it. Here's Tim Cullen is sitting next to me. And they thought we had gotten in a fight and we're going to announce something spectacular. And I said, I would like to introduce to you my Secretary of Health and Human Services, Tim Cullen. You could have heard a pin drop. Nobody believed it. And some people said it was the smartest coup of any decision I made as governor, was to get Tim Cullen to join me. And I tend to agree with that. He's been a friend and a great individual. And what I love about the guy, he's Irish, that helps, is the fact that he's a problem solver. And just like he was in the state senate, like he was in Health and Human Services, we did some wonderful things, some innovative things that I wouldn't have been able to do as a Republican. He wouldn't have been able to do as a Democrat. We were able to do it together, such as welfare reform. Amazing thing that became a national program for the country. And Tim was there, and it's just been a delight. And so what I love about the fact of this program tonight is the fact, that here's an individual sitting as a school board member, and he's looking over the terrain, looking at his responsibility as a board member. How do I make Janesville school districts the best that they possibly can? And one of the big problems is that huge number of minority children and students are in the Janesville district. 17%, growing. And less than 1% at that time were teachers. And Tim came up with a solution, like he always does, a practical solution. And you look at it and you say, that makes a lot of sense. And to be able to hear these outstanding young men and women come up and profess their love and their affection, their desires of being the best that they possibly can be. If you didn't have a tear in your eye, you're not human, ladies and gentlemen, because I did. And I loved every single one of them. Daniel Jackson, he's teaching and making other students of color, want to go on to college. Jared Fox, as I understand it, was quite an athlete in Janesville. Got a lot of respect. Building a rapport with young students about, you can be an athlete, you can also be a good student and a good teacher. Jesse, outstanding middle school teacher. People that can look up to you, and you're tall enough that they can. Made me proud. Chastity, I love you. You know, you should be a comedian too. You know, run down there. You know, that was classy. You know, I got something I want to tell you. Oh, I left it down there. Run down there. That was very, very good, Chastity, and I can understand why students respond to you, and that's what it's all about. Nicole, you are a role model, and one of the best. And don't ever forget it. And thank you very much for what you do. And Gabby and Adriana, both of you, usted es muy bonita. I thank you all, and you know, I come from a family of teachers. My grandfather was a math teacher. My mother and father were both teachers. My sister is a professor, and I was a black sheep. Became a lawyer and a politician, but I love people. You know, they go into education and want to be part of building for the future. And that's what I love about Janesville. I used to come down here and campaign, and I know so many of you know the Stiles back there, wonderful friends, the Kennedys and the Cullens, and so many of you have been friends of mine for years and have supported me. But what I loved about Janesville, and what I love about this program, is this fact I used to come down here for business after 5. Just about every 6 months they'd invite me down. And Janesville business people were not reluctant at all about asking for things. And they'd get me down here and, you know, you'd give you a beer and they think, you know, they own you. And they'd tell you, you know, some things that we want to. But what I loved about it was the passion and the dedication for Janesville. Every single one of you are here because why? You love Janesville. You love the city. And you want Janesville to be the best that it possibly could be. Let's face it, you've had some tough times. General Motors was a big corporation, a big employer, and pulled out. And you were upset, but it didn't let you get you down. Janesville is stronger today, and you're building on it. And this program is one of those programs that's going to make Janesville even stronger and better tomorrow than it is today. And I did want to mention about the young students that came up to the farm. I see one of them right there. I did see you again. And he was telling me, and he rode one of my four-wheelers. I said, you know how to do it? He said, oh, yes. He immediately killed it. And then the school teacher, such a lovely, lovely person. Thank you very much, and all of you. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, when Tim Cullen asked me, I would do anything for him because I respect him, believe in what he's doing, and making things happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming because it's a wonderful cause and a wonderful evening. I've always appreciated innovative ideas to help solve difficult and different challenges. Today we're here to celebrate such an example that my friend Tim Cullen has been key to developing. And I also certainly want to thank all of you for being involved. And the two legislators that are here, and Superintendent of Schools, thank you for what you do. And also Sue Conley. What a dynamo, thank you very much. We're here today to celebrate such an example. I've known Tim Cullen since the 70s. He's always been that individual that's focused on solutions, not partisanship. And that's what I love, you know. Wouldn't it be nice, you know, that, you know, some of us are Republicans, some of us are Democrats, some of us are Catholics and Baptists and communists. Isn't it nice, though, to come together and work on problems and being able to come up with solutions and answers to the problem? That's why we're here tonight. I'm proud to be here tonight, and thank you, Tim. We're here tonight to recognize the success of Janesville Multicultural Teacher Opportunity Scholarship Program. What a mouthful. Can't you get it shorter? I mean, why don't you, yeah, well, it must have been a committee. It must have been this must have been all Democrats on that committee, I'll tell you. Why don't you call it the Irish Teacher Program or something I can understand? JMTOS. When I was governor, I did my best, always, to find solutions that challenged the status quo. We started when Tim was right there, side by side, the W-2 program for welfare reform. And I can remember this because a couple of teachers spoke about it tonight, about having a chance, an opportunity. I used to invite welfare mothers to come to the executive residence. The executive residence, a beautiful building on a lake, and most of those welfare mothers never, ever expected to have lunch with the governor in the governor's residence. And I'd invite them in, and I did this for several months to find out, why were people on welfare? What could we do to change it? And they'd come in, and I wouldn't let anybody else in the room for dinner, lunch, except the welfare mothers and myself. Sometimes we'd have 10, sometimes we'd have 15. We'd sit around the table, and they were all afraid. What are we doing here? Who is this guy? And what does he want? And they wouldn't talk so I told them my story. I told them how poor I was growing up. We didn't have indoor plumbing for a long time. Didn't have a television. I told them that, and they finally, after I told them my stories, they became very interested. And they really opened up, and I'd ask them, I'd say, well, why don't you work? They said, well, if I go to work, I don't get health insurance for myself and my children. I said, that makes sense. What would happen if I would give you health insurance for yourself and your children? That would be really good. Thank you. But who's going to take care of my kids while I'm working? I got to have, I take care of these children. And I said, what if I provide daycare for you? And they said, that would be fantastic. Would you do that? And I said, yeah, I'll do that. But Mr. Governor, and that's what reminded me of the story. It's what these young teachers said. I've never had a chance. I don't have an education. I don't have any skills. And I said, what if I would set up a program for you to go to vocational school or go to school for a job that you could get afterwards? Oh, that would be great. And then they came up with one more. They said, we have no cars, no automobiles, no buses. I said, what if I provide you with daycare, health care, education for a job, and once you graduate, you go to work and I provide transportation? Would you go to work? And they said, absolutely. Absolutely. And when I put the program in front of the legislature with Tim Cullen's help, we had a lot of welfare mothers who had come up to my house and had lunch with me, come and testify and say, we want it. We want an opportunity. We want a chance. We want a chance to buy a house, to have a job, be a role model for our children. And that's why this program, ladies and gentlemen, is so great. It's so nice. Because it's an opportunity for each of them. And that's why you in Janesville should be so proud and happy with what you're doing. JMTOS presents an innovative solution to a real challenge. The facts are clear. Janesville does have a growing minority population. The Janesville Teacher Corps doesn't really appropriately represent the student population. 17% of district students are of color. And when Tim started this program, was on the school board and looked at it, less than 1% of the teachers were of color. That's grown, but not nearly enough. And that's why your money tonight, the $40,000 that's being raised, that's 2 more teachers. The program is $5,000 a year. What a great scholarship for 4 years. The simple solution: create your own teachers. Create an endowment for Janesville students wishing to enter the educational field. And you heard those stories tonight. It made you feel good. Made you proud that you, every one of you, are part of this. Provide a chance. Provide a chance for self-identified Asian, African American, Hispanic, or Native Americans. And it's a significant scholarship. Incentivize, or maybe the better word is inspire. Allow successful scholarship winners to reapply annually for that scholarship if he or she keeps a grade point average up for the 4 years. It's the sort of commitment students need to know that somebody there cares and is going to give them a hand up, not a handout, and keeps them dedicated to their schoolwork. Provides an opportunity. It gives JMTOS scholarship winners an opportunity to interview for open jobs in the Janesville School District. Doesn't say they're going to get it, but they can interview for it. No guarantee of a job, it's an opportunity. And herein lies the key: opportunity versus guarantee. Opportunity versus guarantee. This is the strength of this program. It's the foundation for individual empowerment. It's like those welfare mothers that came to see me and wanted a better life for themselves. JMTOS doesn't guarantee a scholarship. It provides an opportunity to apply. JMTOS doesn't guarantee a successful scholarship winner. It guarantees you funding. If you provide, your opportunity to reapply if your educational standards are kept. It's not mandatory. It's not guaranteed, it's an opportunity. JMTOS doesn't guarantee a job in the Janesville School District. It provides an opportunity to apply. I'm a big believer, always have been, in providing opportunities rather than guarantees. Believe the programs that best stand the test of time do this. School choice, which I started, and welfare reform, and the Transportation 2020 program. JMTOS focuses on opportunity, and that is why it's easy for everyone in this room, every single person that believes and loves Janesville, to get behind it. Those teachers tonight just made me very happy to be associated with all of you. All of you have just done a great job. We can discuss the importance of diversity here tonight, but there's really a more powerful message to walk away with. I've discussed with you the power of opportunity versus guarantee. Here's what opportunity at its very best can do for Janesville. Transform and transition into a better school district. And not being critical to all of your school district, I know you do a great job, but everybody can improve. And Janesville can do as well, and this program helps you. Opportunity can transform, which is exactly what JTMOS is doing. You've transformed these wonderful young people who have spoken tonight. You've transformed the thinking of this district in terms of hiring practices, which is so good. You're transforming classrooms by putting minorities in front of minority students. And from the transformation comes a transition. And this truly is the power of the opportunity that JMTOS can provide. Can one teacher make a difference? Absolutely. Enthusiastically, every single one of those teachers tonight, I'd be proud to be in their classroom. And so would you. Students will see teachers that look like them, talk like them, and hopefully be able to relate better to their problems and their encouragements. They're going to learn of the opportunity and the dreams that these school teachers have. That's what JMTOS provides. And perhaps the great hope is that those that don't get a scholarship recognize the potential within themselves, like that young man in your school, Chastity, and use it to motivate them to pursue their dream. One teacher at a time, providing the hope, speaking to the opportunity by being the shining example that they possibly can be in the classroom. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a very wonderful investment. And that's what you're doing tonight. It's worth making. And I wish we could make more. Because Tim tells me every 20,000 he can add one more student to become a teacher. So tonight we've done 2. I think we should try to get 3. Diversity is important, but it's so much more than just a discussion point. Tonight it's a call to action. The program that's being worked on here today and that you're supporting is a perfect example of a very successful call to action. Well, I'm sure all of these teachers that have won the scholarship be quick to thank you again if you were able to get more individuals like them to go in the classroom. The real appreciation and the real thing that's going to benefit Janesville is going to come years down the road from those sitting in the classrooms someday that don't know what they're going to do or do they have a chance. And what are those dreams? They're going to be touched by these wonderful teachers that you're giving them the opportunity to have tonight. I thank all of you for understanding the opportunity that you are providing. Your ongoing commitment and the transformation within the classrooms of today. You are, ladies and gentlemen, a part of the transition within your community. You're making Janesville stronger and better tomorrow than it is today. So, ladies and gentlemen, may the roads always rise to meet you. And may the wind be always at your back. And may the sun shine warmly upon your forehead. And the rains fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. God love the people in Janesville, Rock County. God love Wisconsin. And God love the United States of America.
Thank you very much, Governor Thompson. It's been an honor to have you here tonight. We appreciate it very much. I want to thank the sponsors again as well. Without you, we wouldn't be able to award so many scholarships, so thank you very much for your ongoing support. It's very important to the program. I want to thank the committee that planned this event. Camilla Owen, Edna Feldman-Schultz, Christine Moore, Karen Schulte, Jane Maldonis, and Tim Cullen. So thank you all for your hard work. It's been a great event. Thanks to everyone who attended tonight. Tell all your friends about this because, you know, we can accept contributions any time of the year. You don't have to wait for the event. The more contributions we get, the more students we can get into the school district. So thank you very much for your attention tonight. And I just have one other piece. Someone at your table has a little green dot on the program. And that person gets to take home the centerpiece. Thank you all very much for coming. Have a great evening.